Hello and welcome to this tarot reading for the solar eclipse on April 30th, 2022 in the nakshatra of Bharani. I hope this finds you well. I trust you'll use your own intuition as your primary instrument of resonance. Leave behind what does not reverberate. Tarot does not tell the future. The only thing that determines your future is how you react, reflect, and respond to the messages herein. The first card that I pulled for this reading was actually the solar eclipse card from my astro deck, and of course I'm sitting here just like laughing to myself going, ha ha ha, yeah, of course, duh, this is a solar eclipse reading. I would expect nothing less than this solar eclipse card to pop out at this time, and it is the most obvious thing, and in that comes a very poignant message about the dark and the light, the sun and the moon, and the relationship between the two. And it really begs us to explore the influence that these transits have on us, especially with the luminaries, the sun and the moon, going through the zodiac and eclipsing each other. And what does it really mean? And what does it really mean for us and for us as in a collective? And I say to many people that the eclipse is like a shutter on a camera. It's taking a picture of a moment in time, and 6 months from now the equal picture will be taken. The mirror image will be taken, but the mirror image will be very, very different. It's almost like a wormhole. I feel it's like the 2 points between space and time that just there's 6 months in between them, but they're 2 points in time that just touch each other quite beautifully. So I always say to people, take a picture of yourself now, write down how you feel, write down what you're doing, write down your dreams, aspirations, frustrations, whatever it may be, and then in 6 months of the next solar eclipse, have a look at them and see where you've come from and where you've gone in that time, and you may surprise yourself quite considerably. And just a little bit of trivia, the eclipses happen every 6 months from each other, and the moon cycles also happen in 6 month kind of cycles in a way. So this new moon that is happening on April 30th in Bharani, the full moon in Bharani will happen 6 months from that date, and that goes for all moon ephemeris. There's 6 months between the opening and closing of each part of the cycle. So the full moon that happened in the middle of April in Libra, the new moon in Libra will happen 6 months from that date. So there's that 6 month cycle. So it's good to know that, because you can start to chart your own progression through these luminary cycles. So yeah, that was just a very interesting and funny thing to come up as the first card. It's a very obvious thing, and I just feel as though this eclipse is crazy for a lot of people at this point in time, and it's a very pivotal moment for a lot of people. And we've had so many crazy, turbulent aspects in the last 3 months and even in the last 6 months, and it just is the beginning of our movement forwards, I feel, especially since Mercury is breaking free of the Kalasarpa yoga, which means that all planets were hemmed by the malefics Rahu and Ketu. So Mercury is just moving from out of that yoga. So we feel some release. Things are slowly starting to move, and it may have felt from the last 5 months that you're just kind of meandering, wandering aimlessly, just wondering when things will pick up, and that is definitely coming very soon on the horizon. This momentum will start to pick up with Mercury, and of course all the other planets will follow, well, not all of them, more so the fast-moving planets like Venus, Mars, Mercury, the Sun, and the Moon will move out of this inauspicious yoga. So we can feel within ourselves and with people around us that things are starting to move. The wheels are currently in motion, and the wheel kind of comes up in this reading quite a bit too. And I'm just looking at my desk in front of me, and there's a book here that I have that has a wheel on the front of it. It's actually a yantra, but it has a wheel on the front with spokes. And we also have the Wheel of Fortune, and we have the wheel card. So the wheels are in motion, and it starts very, very slowly, almost minuscule to the naked eye, this motion. But once it starts, it's very hard to stop, and that's that entropy, right? And I mentioned that entropy is intensifying at this point in time. So the Wheel of Fortune ruled by Jupiter, many astrologers are saying that the markets will improve with the movement of Jupiter into Aries. So we can look forward to that going into May. But also personal fortune, personal luck and joy will definitely increase and start to become more and more prevalent, and we can really look forward to that. But the wheel card here I have from the Moon Oracle deck talks about the nakshatra of Mixera, and Mixera is a Mars-ruled nakshatra in the Venus-ruled Rashi of Taurus, and it is ruled by the moon or by Chandra. And we see the soma or the elixir here, and it's a very interesting nakshatra in that it's represented by the deer, and the deer is a very fickle, shy, cute, perceptive, curious, gentle creature, but it really is searching and looking constantly for food, for nourishment, for sustenance. And we see people with Mixera in their chart that they are constantly looking for the soma. They're constantly searching, and they have divided attention. And it can cause a lot of problems, because when we have divided attention, we're distracted constantly. So this nakshatra really talks about the sexes after the Garden of Eden, so the masculine and the feminine principle, the masculine being Mars and the feminine being the Taurus-ruled Rashi of, the Venus-ruled Rashi of Taurus. So it's really talking about this kind of duality, or the two forces that are needed going forward out of the Garden of Eden, that binary kind of system, or the dark and the light, the duality that happens here on this earth, and that was realized after the knowledge or the gnosis was taken. And we see this again with the solar eclipse, the dark and the light, that cycle happening again and again. And of course the dark and the light just of the moon itself, the new moon and the full moon, the dark and the light. And interestingly enough, we also see this in the I Ching that has come up, the number 44 I Ching, which is very interesting. If you have been reading some of the decodes on Elon Musk and Twitter at the moment, the number 44 came up quite a bit. But the number 44 hexagram talks about temptation, or it's unanimous with the devil card in the tarot. And on the devil card we see two people shackled, and of course the devil's sitting there. So this card is about influence and how we're influenced by people, and how we influence other people. And it's, it can be related to the archons or the subconscious forces that cause us to act, and often without our conscious awareness. And this hexagram really talks about the dark and the light, and realizing that the yin principle is always looking to engulf yang principle. As we see here on the number 44 hexagram, you have 5 strong lines, 5 masculine yang lines on the top, and then a yin line at the bottom. And we can think of this as an example in nature as the solstice. We have the pinnacle of masculine energy at the solstice, at the summer solstice, I should say. And then every day after that, we see the progression of the yin, of the darkness, slowly taking over. And these are natural cycles that we see constantly. As I've explained with the solar eclipse, the sun and the moon, respectively, and of course within our own selves. Sometimes we get to a point where we think, oh, there is so much light emitting from us, and we have dispelled the darkness. But this, it cannot be. It cannot be forever. There is always this yin principle that is looking to consume and looking to take over. And this can be a very malevolent thing or a very disastrous thing if we are not in sync with our darkness, and we're not in sync with our inner daemon and our just our shadow. If we haven't listened to our shadow, which tells us so much. That's the other thing. The yin principle is all encompassing of everything, so it has all the answers there. The subconscious has all of the answers, and it has all of the magic as well. And if we really shun it or demonize it, going back to the tarot of the devil here, if we demonize it, if we let it take us over in very dangerous ways, we can find ourselves very vulnerable and trapped in our own darkness, trapped in our own illusions. And this can even be the false light, the illusion of the false light as well. What we think is true is actually just another delusion that the yin has made us believe. And so it's a very interesting I Ching, the number 44, and it's come at a very pivotal time. So we have the Wheel of Fortune, the Wheel card, and the Wheel card with Mixara here, there's 2 people on it. So it could be a sign for you to help somebody, or you may need some help from somebody to get this wheel turning. It's one of those situations where you need 2 people to kind of get the wheels in motion here, to get the enterprise going. So if you can lend that hand to somebody, or maybe you need to ask somebody for their hand in help. We have a lot of sword cards here. We have the Ace, 3, 4, 9, and Queen of Swords. And we also have the 9 of Pentacles here as well. So I just see, and it's funny because I just posted up a picture of Lana Del Rey with the Immaculate Heart. And the 3 of Swords is exactly that. It's that Immaculate Heart kind of motif there. With the swords through the heart, and it's usually heartbreak or heartache, or things not going to plan, but there is something in that sorrow. There is something that we need to contemplate or just rest on, and sometimes that sorrow is actually anger as well. And the 4 of Swords is just beckoning you to just take a breather, not get too caught up in the conflict, too caught up in the externals, and just meditate on it, sleep on it, whatever it may be, and just know that you have the answer. You have that hidden sword underneath you as you sleep in that subconscious realm that will be able to attack this situation in any way that you need. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of rest. And I just see here with the Ace of Swords as well, some new ideas coming in, some new communications coming in, and definitely some conquests as well. And of course we have the 9 of Swords here with the 4 of Swords and the 3 of Swords, and just thinking about the sorrow, the heartache, or anything like that. It could even be some sort of injury that you've had, not getting stressed out about it. It's happened for a reason. It's happened for your highest good, and you need to kind of integrate that experience and understand it for what it is, and realize that there are many, many opportunities in this as well to seize that power. And that's that Ace of Swords, that ultimate power. And it's definitely has to do with the mind, having control over the mind, mind over matter kind of situation here, and to not let your anxieties or your frustrations or your sadness overtake you, because it will just lead you down a path that will ultimately, not benefit your mind, body, or soul in the long run. And you really need to be the judge of that. You really need to make the executive decision here with the Queen of Swords, and maybe even be a little bit harsh on yourself in a way, and just kind of go, no, I no longer am subscribing to this outlook. I'm no longer subscribing to this even end result as well. In our anxieties or in our worries, we always have this vision of the end product, and we're like, oh goodness, I want to get as far away from that as possible. Well, okay, you want to get away from that. Well, what do you actually want? Move towards that instead of focusing so much on what you don't want. And that takes great control of one's mind. But I do see a reversal here of fortune for the better, especially with that Wheel of Fortune here, but also the Nine of Pentacles. It's this independent character who is kind of paired with the Empress card, and she is just enjoying the garden. She's just walking around, having a good time, and seeing how things have flourished, seeing how things have gotten on. And there's really no care in her mind. And I feel as though that's where you want to get to. You want to get to a place where you can just smell the roses, enjoy the moment, and not worry as much, and really put these things behind you. And that's kind of the turning of the wheel as well. The turning of the wheel allows for things to be put in the rear vision mirror. And that's one of the greatest things, is that people who are successful, they don't put the past in front of them. They put the past behind them. And then they put the future in front of them. And the future has so many possibilities and so many opportunities and so many quirky little goodness knows what, and that's really, I feel, what is going to happen after this eclipse, or during this eclipse, is that you come to realize this, and you think, yes, I have to, take the picture, that's the memory, and from here I get to work towards a new picture. What do I want it to look like in 6 months from now? What do I want to look like? What do I want my home to look like? What do I want, all these things to look like? And maybe the picture that you take 6 months from now isn't just of you, it's of you and your family, or you and your friends, or you and your home, or all sorts of possibilities there. So the turning of the wheel, the turning of time, and these grand cycles, these grand transits that happen. And I think that's all I have for the reading. I'm just looking at the cards a little bit. Oh, I see like a little, looks like a stag. What do they call it? The antlers. And that kind of goes with Mixera as well, the deer. So a stag and a foal? No, that's not it. A foal is a horse. A stag and a doe. That's it. A stag and a doe. Yeah, maybe you're going hunting, or maybe you're doing wildlife photography. The summertime, I'm not sure what it's like in the summertime in the northern hemisphere for deer, but I assume that they're munching on things and walking around. Maybe you'll come into contact with the deer, or contemplate the deer, see their true nature, and how they are peaceful and so gentle and then also so fickle at the same time. I don't think I see anything else here. Oh, there is balance. There is a scale here, the balancing of the debt, the balancing of the credit, the balancing of karmas, I see. Yeah, so the work that you have put in will yield equal results. And it doesn't necessarily mean good results either. It can just mean results of equal energy. And there's a little snail here too. Maybe you're trying to grow some vegetables or something this summer, and you need to make sure that snails don't get into your vegetable patch and eat all your food. I don't know how you get rid of snails naturally. Maybe salt lines, or I feel as though there are some essential oils that will definitely keep the snails away. Or certain plants as well. Learning to have this symbiotic kind of natural habitat where things are working together, and you don't really have to use any chemicals or force anything if you just get the right combination of animals and flora and those sorts of things. You can just create this little mini habitat that thrives in of itself. I wonder, birds eat snails. I was just thinking, what eats snails? Birds eat snails. So maybe getting more birds into your yard. Maybe put a bird feeder out. And we see this here with the Nine of Pentacles too. She's got a little bird on her glove there, one of those carrier pigeon things. So it could be sending letters to people too. Maybe you're sending out love letters, or communicating with people far, far away, and making time for them too, or people making time for you. Yeah, I think a letter of sorts is coming to you. A good omen, or some good news is coming to you. I just see on this Wheel of Fortune card too, there's these swords, but they kind of look like letter openers, the really short swords. Yeah, I think that's all I see. I keep saying that, but then I keep drawing more and more and more out, so who knows? I'm just looking. Twins, quadruplets, maybe a baby. What else is there? I think that's it. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Okay, thank you for listening. Bye.